Hi, I'm Maryann Welsh. I am the Director of Operations at WJD Management. I'm here today with David Norod, who is the principal broker. We've been working together for quite a number of years, over 23 years. 23. And counting. And David, I have a question for you.
I'll try to answer it.
What does a property manager do to ensure legal issues for the client? Legal issues that they may encounter with the lease. How does the lease protect the owner?
Got a little definition. There are two types of leases that are used in this state. One is the Virginia Common Law lease, and the other is the Virginia Residential Landlord and Tenant Act lease. We use the Virginia Common Law lease for a long list of reasons I won't go into. There are certain requirements that, it's criterion, I should say, that if you meet the criterion, you're required to use the other one. Gratefully, we don't have any clients that fall into that group. The Virginia Common Law lease, it's based on the NVAR lease that's been blessed by the NVAR attorneys. And so that's what I used as a boilerplate.
And NVAR is a local?
The Northern Virginia Association of Realtors.
Okay.
Good point. Which, of course, I have to belong to because I'm a real estate broker. But I started with that, and over the last 20 some odd years, I've been refining our residential deed of lease. It's now 8 pages long, I believe, and I think it's fair. It's very equitable. We're not a party to it. A lot of people think, "Oh, WJD." No, it's a contract between the tenants and the homeowners. You know, we simply are the administration of this legally binding document, but we're not a party to it. I know it provides, in my opinion, equal protection for both the tenants and the landlords, and I just think that's critical because there's kind of an opinion floating around out there that the leases are pro-tenant. Or if you're a tenant, they're pro-landlord. Excuse me. Our lease isn't either way. I think it's very well balanced. Now, for our clients and prospective clients that may be watching this, we have a lot of things that we've added over the years to account for some crazy situations that we have.
That we've encountered, yep.
Yeah, like in the middle of a tenancy, and it's maybe 3 or 4 unrelated adults. Somebody wants to leave, somebody else wants to come in. The lease addresses that. There's a whole section that deals with, okay, well, that's cool, but you got to go through this to get that, and it's a whole process. There's landlord transfer. That's very important because many of our clients. Actually, most of our clients are foreign service, as you well know.
Overseas. Yeah.
And maybe they just got, their post got terminated, whatever, they're sent back here. They've got to move back into the homes. There's a 90-day boilerplate clause about owner transfer.
Absolutely.
Now, it can't be that just, I don't like it here, I got to move back. No, got to have, actually, you've transferred back.
You're coming
here
back
to the area.
You're
and the same holds true for tenants. It's a little different, though. If you're active military, obviously the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Act prevails regardless of what our lease says.
Right.
But if it's just like a job transfer, then there's certain parameters they have to follow, and they've got to give us evidence. And it's got to be
job transfer, not
with the
taking
same company, right?
Not taking a new company and moving out to Washington, right?
So that's very clearly defined. And as a homeowner, and again, I'm a landlord. WJD manages property that my business partner and I own. If it's in the middle of a first term of a tenancy, there's a substantial amount of money that the tenants have to pay us, as the landlord, to basically buy out of their lease, liquidated damages, and the amount changes depending on how long of the term that they've completed. And if they've been there forever, then there are no liquidated damages.
And that's when you say pay us, not WJD, the landlord.
Us. I'm us.
Us as the landlord,
me.
right?
Me.
Okay.
Not you. Oh, the cool thing is, I want to break my lease. So this is a separate legally binding document, but we have a surrender of possession. You may want to just, we have a sample of that on the website?
I don't think there's a sample of that on the website.
Well, we can send you one.
We can, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
it's
call
really
and ask
cool.
for-
It was put together by our attorney, and it's just establishes a whole set of terms and conditions for someone to actually break their lease.
Right. And obviously, when a tenant comes to us at WJD and says that's what they want to do, the first question, the first thing we're going to tell them is that you might be able to, but we have to get the landlord's approval. So we don't do anything without the owner's approval on any changes.
It's going to cost you a bundle, so you may just want to stay there and complete your term,
Right.
because there's a lot of money that they have to keep paying the rent and a bunch of other stuff until such time as we find a replacement tenant,
Right.
or their lease terminates. So if they're in the last 2 or 3 months, it's probably not even worth it. But it's an issue for another discussion. We've got a whole series of things that tenants have to accomplish when they move in. They've got to complete the property condition report, got to get that back to us. But more importantly, a very specific set of things that they have to do when they move out. And
Right.
the checklist is actually right there on the lease. Now, we have a tenant handbook. There is a sample of that on the
website.
On the
Yep.
website. The handbook is kind of like a condensation of the legalese and the lease, and you can understand
Yeah.
it. It's actually part of the lease. It's integrated as part of the deed of lease. So I think that it's pretty clearly covers what the tenant's rights and obviously responsibilities are. So, and that being part of the lease, that's got like care of fixtures and appliances and how to get your money back
Right.
from your security deposit, and emergencies, defines emergencies, what to do if you have them. I mean, it's all stuff that's not in the deed of lease, but important information.
Right.
So it is in the deed of lease, but it's actually in the handbook,
As an
which is part of
attachment,
the
yeah.
lease. And what else have we done recently? Hardwood floors, we got things to, you got to protect them.
Protect the hardwood floors.
Home warranties.
Home warranties.
Yeah,
if
you've
you're-
got to get
have
up
a
off
home warranty.
deposit, or what do you call
The,
it? What is it?
The fee,
Did-
the deductible that
that
they have to
thing.
pay
Yes,
for the visit to come out. The
because
tenants,
have to
hand-
pay that.
Yeah,
And then they sit and wait
Right.
because
And-
it's a home warranty.
right. They're
Read
not
our
the
blog.
easiest- not the easiest
Yeah,
to deal
go ahead.
with. But
Check out the blog on WJD Management
About home
website about
warranties,
home
yeah.
warranties and how cool we think
Yeah.
they are.
Well, let me ask you, what happens if a tenant just stops paying their rent or just moves out, and we, find out Henry goes out there to do an inspection and they're gone or whatever? What kind of legal assistance is available to the owner? What does WJD offer? Is there attorney assistance? Does the owner have to get their own attorney? Does the owner have to go to court? Does WJD go to court? How far do we take it, and what is the owner's responsibility as far as legal matters?
Well, we have to do everything that the homeowner would have to do if they didn't hire us. So
Okay.
that's engaging legal counsel, which we have, obviously, on retainer. There's a cost, but it's very nominal. I think it's just
Yeah,
a couple $100 or something. Sometimes we do have to go to court. What's filed as an unlawful detainer is really, the terminology is they've unlawfully detained the property, the
Right.
premises, by not
By
paying
not
rent.
paying rent, right.
So we file unlawful, and if we have to go to court, sometimes we have to go and sometimes we don't. And I guess it just depends on the
Depends on the
jurisdiction.
case
But
and
we
stuff.
do
But
go.
we have the attorney too.
Yeah. Now the attorney
we
costs
give-
money, but we don't.
Yeah, and we have the attorney we use is
Right. So if we have to go, that's not like an add-on fee or
Right.
anything, right?
right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. That's 8 pages of stuff
Yeah.
to remember, but so yeah, I mean, there's pretty substantial protection there. That what we're trying to accomplish is, if there's somebody in there that shouldn't be there, to get them out of there,
Right.
so that we can re-rent the property and restore the income stream.
And that's not a problem we have very often. And I think that is
We've never had
because
that.
of the,
We've never had an eviction. We've never actually had an eviction. We've done, unlawfuls, but
right,
when it comes right down to the wire and the sheriff is ready to go, open the door and get out, they're gone. So we've never actually had to evict somebody.
well, and I think possibly because of the application process. And I think that
Good point.
that's probably going to be, covered in the next segment. But, I think that is a big part of
Starts
why
on
we
the
have
front
that.
end.
Yeah, why we
Exactly.
don't have that
Oh,
issue.
excellent point. Yeah, so sample of the deed of lease on our website. If you're interested in our services and you want to see how you're protected, or if you're a tenant and you're considering renting one of our properties, see how you're protected. Just get on our website and take a look at it.
Yeah.
All right?
It's pretty easy to find, yes.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.